So I was recently invited to a Back Off Barbarian Tournament hosted by Dunderheads and Hastrid. Competitors would face each other in a 1v1 style match, with the winner being the person who lasted the longest. First place wins a physical copy for Castle Crashers on the Nintendo Switch. So I of course accepted their invite, and this is how it went. So for my first match, I of course chose the blacksmith, and soon enough I was thrown into my first match. Each game is to the best of 3, meaning all I had to do was win 2 rounds in order to progress to the next bracket. If you didn't know, Back Off Barbarian increases in difficulty the longer you stay alive. Knowing this, I decided to be the aggressor in the games. I ended up following my opponent so I could try and trap him off in certain areas. So after getting trapped in a corner, my opponent did get crushed and the first round went to me. On the second round, I think my opponent was in disbelief as he wasn't moving, but a fire demon was coming, so I warned him and he did eventually move. So round 2 can finally commence, and it's over. So on my first game, I ended up winning 2 out of the 3 rounds, meaning I progressed on to the next bracket. However, there was quite a lot of players at this stage, meaning I was waiting over an hour for my next game. So whilst waiting, I decided to get some victories elsewhere.
Oh, there's more. Hold on!
Game 2, and I was going against my biggest enemy. Although I won my first game, I had to be more careful in this second one, as the person I was going against had also won their game. I think my opponent knew my game plan, so they were staying well away from me. So it was making it quite difficult for me to stay near them, forcing me to move further and further away. When there's more than one player on Back Off Barbarian, the screen has to zoom out so everyone can see. This threw me off as I was not used to this at all. This did begin to confuse me, resulting in a death on round 1. This was not looking good. One more death and I was finished for the competition. For round 2, I was more prepared. I knew my opponent was going to try and stay away from me, so trying to follow him would not work in my favour, so I changed my plan. I instead stayed in the bottom corner of the screen, hoping that most of the enemies would follow my opponent, and as more Eskimos spawned in, they did in fact target my opponent over me. All I had to do was focus on surviving, and with the screen zooming out, it was getting more and more difficult. Luckily, however, my opponent was getting overwhelmed and tried to make their way over to me. This resulted in them dying. So it's game 2. 1 point to me, 1 point to my opponent. Winner takes all. This map was a lot smaller than the previous 2 we had just played, but since staying away from my opponent and focusing on surviving seemed to work, I tried that method again. And just like last round, things were working out in my favour, as the enemies decided to target my opponent, not me. This once again forced my opponent to make their way over to me, but on their way they got crushed, meaning game 2 went to me.
First of all, I want to recognize this one.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Don't you live in
Roof sniper.
I know.
Did Dante take a kill?
No, he ran out and just died! That's 3v3!
It was now game 3. For our first map, it was split up into 2 sections with small bridges connecting them. I knew I could use this to my advantage. I decided to play aggressive again, hoping that I could block off my opponent on these bridges, and my gamble paid off. 30 seconds into the first round and I had won. Round 2, and it was a map I was very familiar with. In fact, this is the map I got the achievement on for surviving 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The best place on this map is this small bridge at the top. I once again knew I could use this to my advantage. I hovered around the top part of the map, hoping I could block my opponent and getting him trapped in a corner. This worked again, forcing the enemies to go against my opponent and forcing my opponent to make very quick moves which could confuse them, making them open to more mistakes. And 1 minute into round 2, my opponent was defeated and I moved on to the next round. Now we did actually play a third round and I can't remember why, but I just did the same strategy for the previous 2 rounds and won the third one. Look at the boat.
Hey, there's a team over where I think. I don't even know where the. How do y'all?
In the building, in this building, there's a hole. You just drop.
Game 4, and this was in fact the finals. I had made it all the way here going against the other best player in the tournament. Now I got to the finals by sabotaging my opponent, playing slowly but calculated, whereas my opponent got to the finals by just being really good. Meme Cuisine is insane at Back Off Barbarian. No, I mean really good. They were so fast that I couldn't keep up with them, meaning my technique of trapping them wasn't going to work. And as it hit the 2-minute and 30-second mark, Meme Cuisine pulled off an insane play and pulled all the enemies towards me, trapping me in the corner. So on the first round, it went to Meme Cuisine. Round 2, and Meme Cuisine was once again flexing his speed. Now I'm not gonna lie, I was sweating. So instead of trying to follow my opponent and trap them, I decided to focus on surviving. Training the enemies around the map, it once again went over 2 minutes and there were a lot of enemies. At this point, I was panicking and just spamming all the buttons I could. This led me and Meme Cuisine into the same corner of the map, and very luckily, Meme Cuisine was crushed, meaning round 2 went to me and it was now 1-1. It was once again the map that was split into 2, meaning I could try my best to block off the bridges and get Meme Cuisine killed. But of course, they were so fast that they just went around me. And when I did try to block them off, they were faster to get through than I was to just jump a few squares. Meaning once again, it was all out panic and I got cornered and died. Round 4 and it was 1-2. If I lose this round, it's all over. Round 4 though was a very good map. This is one of my favourites and I tend to do pretty good on this one, but that's why I can't figure out why I did the most stupid play ever seen. So I was stood on this tile and tried jumping across to this one, and for some reason I thought you just hopped straight across, and I failed to see the arrow that was in the dip below, meaning I just stood still spamming a button that was not working, meaning I died. This was honestly such a stupid death and could have been easily avoided, but with that awful play out of the way, it was 3-1 to Meme Cuisine, meaning I lost in the finals. But honestly, I wasn't too sad. Meme Cuisine is one of the best Back Off Barbarian players I have ever seen. Their speed and knowledge of the maps are insane, and I fully believe that they deserve this win. So at the end of the tournament, I came second place. So that is how the Back Off Barbarian tournament went. Second place is amazing. I never thought I'd get to the finals, so let alone second place is pretty good. So thank you to Dunderheads and Hashrid for inviting me to play, but I was still getting them victory royales. And now we share this one. Okay, we share. Everyone understands sharing. We share. But with that being said guys, thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.